Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan mulai 18 Mac 2020 iaitu lusa hingga 31 Mac 2020 di seluruh negara.
This astounding and unprecedented story continues to evolve.
Kita mungkin tidak boleh kembali seperti sedia kala.
It all started because it was the quietest month in my entire life of the Boys Brigades, and the officer came together and said, "Hey, we got to do something about it." There we are. That quickly we came together and we had our first virtual parades.
In the beginning, we actually explored different options such as Zoom, Skype, and of course Discord. In the end, we came to the conclusion that Discord was the best choice at that time because it has no limit in terms of number of participants, the time frame per session, and the other very important factor is during our parade we have two separate sessions where we have corporate session during worship and words will be held, and after the words we are breaking them into squad, and the transition is much smoother in Discord and it's more user friendly. But on the other hand, the free version of other platforms like Zoom, they have a lot of limitation. They limit the number of participants. At the same time, they have shorter time frame per session that we can host. So therefore, we decided to go with Discord at the time.
In the beginning, we managed to cover most of the agenda we usually have in a normal parade in school, like word and worship along with squad time with each other within their own squads. However, due to being new to conducting things virtually, we didn't have much ideas for squad time and ended up repeating games like Scribble.io a few times. There were also challenges such as coordination between different people and particularly connection issues, but it definitely got better over time while we also managed to diversify our squad time games.
After 4 parades with Discord, I felt something was missing. I'm not too sure whether the members are there with us during the parades, their readiness, their expressions. I miss seeing those faces, and I felt so much more connected when their videos are on.
After Captain told us he desired for face-to-face parades, we explored a few different options such as Google Meet and Microsoft Teams, but ultimately decided on Microsoft Teams as it had a better connection and also had some classroom functions such as notes and assignments.
It came during the parents' dialogue meeting that I had with the parents. During the meetings, I realized that it is very important to have a very concrete program for the boys to learn every Saturday. And it's amazing that we have 6 online batchwork classes running concurrently right now.
Initially, we had 2 badges confirmed in our officer council meeting. But after some further discussion, it has increased until 6. We have 4 badges which are computer knowledge, citizenship, arts and physical training done by our very own officers and NCOs. And we had 2 badges which are done by external instructors. They are international relations by the 33rd Boronia Company in Australia and environmental conservation by the Turtle Conservation Society.
Initially, when Captain first told Warrant Officer Hosha to look into Microsoft Teams, my first thought was, there's no way we can use Microsoft Teams, right? Since it has to be paid. But that night when Hosha called me up and together we researched on how we can use Microsoft for free, we were able to create a domain so that we can add everyone and gather together to have our virtual parades.
Lots of improvements from just hearing the voices to now able to see everyone face to face together with the song leaders, the instructors, the officers and also the invited speakers. It's so encouraging and amazing to see that everyone devote their time on Saturday to go live to serve one another.
Through Microsoft Teams, our parade has become more structured with different teams set up to handle different sections of the parade. Our squad time now has also become even more diversified with everyone playing different games like Guess the Song, Complete the Story, and Bingo.
Thank all of you for your support to these initiatives and also to the officers and members who work very hard behind the scene to make this happen. I look forward to see many more greater production like this in 12 KL. It is amazing because it is truly by the boys for the boys.
Welcome to the grand finals of our Brawl Stars tournament. I am Anders Yu, joined today by Daryl Yang and Lee Min Jun on our first ever analyst desk. Gentlemen, how have you guys been?
Good. Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so before we get down to business, let's talk a bit about the short documentary that has just shown. It has certainly been a very long journey for 12KL to get where it is now.
Right. I think before this, none of us even thought that virtual parades were even gonna be possible. In a way, this MCO has really shown us lots of new possibilities which we can still continue even after this.
Speaking of MCO, there was also something else we did during this period of time other than virtual parades.
And that's the reason we are all here today. On behalf of 12KL and the entire broadcast crew, welcome to the grand finals of our very first Brawl Stars tournament.
After 2 months of competition, only 2 teams remain from the original 20 teams. It has certainly been a really long journey for both of these teams, and I think it speaks a lot about their consistency to be able to maintain such a high level of performance from beginning to the end.
Let's begin by first looking at the journey of each of these teams that have taken, starting with Deep Sea Mortals.
As you can see here, they have actually been extremely dominant, winning almost every single of their series except for the one in the quarterfinals, which sent them down to the losers bracket.
And the opponent that they lost to are also the teams that they are facing today. And they have not lost a single series throughout this entire tournament. Let's now look at Brawly Day's journey in this tournament.
This team has so far rampaged through the entire competition. They have not dropped a single series since the beginning and are looking to earn their first trophy today. They were also the only team that their opponent, Deep Sea Mortals, have lost to.
Moving on, let's talk about the modes that maps will be played today. We'll be having Heist in Game 1 and Game 3, with Bounty in Games 2 and 4, and Gem Grab in Game 5. As Brawly Days has the better record in the tournament so far, they will be allowed to select the map for Games 1, 3 and 5, while Deep Sea Mortals will select the map for Games 2 and 4. For Game 1, Brawly Days has selected the map Sandy Gems. Daryl, can you tell us what this means for our expectations on how the game will play out?
Right. So Sandy Gems is actually a map that is very one-sided, as the first team that manages to break the wall in front of the safe makes high DPS brawlers like Colt and Rico to deal massive damage. Teams can also draft throwers like Tick and Dynamite so that walls does not become an obstacle for them. Because of this, I think we can expect brawler picks such as the mentioned Rico, Tick, Colt, and even Bull because of how useful his super is.
Also, a short mode introduction for those who are unfamiliar with Brawl Stars. Heist is a mode where both teams aim to destroy each other's save. In the event the timer runs out, the team with the healthier save will win, while in Bounty, both teams aim to get more stars, which are shown on top of the players. The team with the most stars in the end will win.
Oh, I've just received word that the stage is now ready for our opening ceremony. Without further ado, let's pass the time over to Jonathan for our opening ceremony.
Director, what's the problem?
Okay, wait.
I see it, I'm going in. Director, you sure this is the right place? What? What's the problem? I can't find it. It's correct. Never mind. Okay, sorry about that. Alright. 12KL first ever Brawl Stars tournament began on the 19th of April 2020. 20 teams have begun this journey with us, and throughout the 2 months period, only 2 teams are gathered here today to participate in our Brawl Stars Grand Finals. Without further ado, our first team for today, the Sea Mortals. This team had a perfect score of 8-0 during the group stage, and while they had a slight hiccup during the quarterfinals where they lost to Brawl Days, they still managed to climb their way up by winning all of the remaining games and are here today in our grand finals and to compete with the players for today. The players from Deep Sea Mortals are Tristan, Ko Kai Fong, and Ho Kai Yuan. Once again, Deep Sea Mortals. And facing them today, the team that managed to qualify for the finals undefeated, Brawl Days. They too had a perfect score of 8-0 during the group stages and did not drop a single series up until now. Another formidable team, Midnight Ninjas, managed to push Brawl Days until Game 5 of the series in the semi-final match, but in the end, Brawl Days persevered and managed to win Midnight Ninjas against a 3-2 game, and they are here today to qualify for the grand finals. The team members for Brawl Days are Tan Mo Sheng, Tan Mo Heng, and Ryan Chia. Once again, Brawl Days. So now, let the 2020 12KL Brawl Stars Grand Finals begin. Best of luck.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. That was an amazing opening ceremony. Before we hand over the time to the casters to kick off our first game, gentlemen, any words?
This has been an extremely long journey for both teams, and I think we are certainly in a treat of a series to watch.
I also want to say, our results may seem like they favor Brawl Days a lot. In the series that played against Deep Sea Mortals, it was still extremely close even with a 3-1 score, and there were many clutches throughout the whole series. So I don't think it will be as one-sided as we think.
A reminder that today's series will be played in the best of 5 format, which means whichever team reaches 3 wins first will win the series. That does it from us, and we now pass the time over to our casters to kick off our first game.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Hongren, and together with Cheesy, we are excited to now bring you the games for today.
Starting in Game 1 from Brawl Days, we have Mo Sheng on Tick, Ryan on Bull, and Mo Heng on Nita.
And on the opposite side, we have Kai Yuan on Colt, Kai Feng on BB, and Tris on Bull. Without further ado, we will now jump into Game 1.
Tepuk 12.
KL.
and Deep Sea Models draw first blood in the series and go up 1-0.
Wow, that was certainly unexpected. This is certainly against many people's expectations as Deep Sea Mortals win the first heist game.
We will now be going on a short break, so don't go anywhere, as we will come back to find out if Deep Sea Models can bring this momentum onto the next game, or will Brawly Days be able to tie up the series. Welcome back to the grand finals of our Brawl Stars tournament. For those who missed it, Deep Sea Models have managed to go up against expectations and claim their first win of the series.
Starting in Game 2, we have Moshing on Bull, Ryan on Rosa, and Mohing on Ems.
And facing them, we have Haiyan on Mr. P, Kaifeng on Bull, and Tris on Tara.
Without further ado, we will now jump into Game 2.
Topok 12. Oke.
And Brawly Days managed to take the second win and tie up the series.
Wow, that was such a close game, only separated by 1 star to determine the victor. But Brawly Days managed to clutch it out in the end and even out the series.
We'll now be going on a short break, so don't go anywhere, as we come back to see which team will be able to break the tie in this series. Welcome back from the break, as now face the series with both teams tied at 1-1.
Starting in Game 3, we have Moshing on Dynamite, Ryan on Rico, and Mohing on Ems.
And on the opposite side, we have Kaiyuan on Brock, Kaifeng on BB, and Tris on Bull.
Without further ado, we will now jump into game 3.
Topok, dua balas.
Out.
Models win game 3 and brings us to match point.
Oh my god, that was such a dominating victory with Deep Sea Mortals destroying Brawly Days. Safe while their own safe is still at 52%.
We will now be going on another short break, so don't go anywhere, as we come back to find out if Deep Sea Models can close out the series in the next game, or if Brawly Days can bring us to an exciting, deciding Game 5. Welcome back from the break. This game is setting up to be extremely tense as Brawly Days face this game with their backs against the walls.
Deep Sea Mortals are at match point and just need to win this game to close out the series, while Brawly Days needs to win this game to push the series to a winner-take-all game 5. Starting in game 4, we have Moshing on Tick, Ryan on Mortis, and Moshing on Brock.
And on the other side, we have Kaiyuan on Brock, Kaifeng on Tick, and Tris on Mortis.
Without further ado, let's jump in.
Topok, dua balas.
Out.
And Deep Sea Models win Game 4 and are the champions of our first ever Brawl Stars tournament.
Wow, that was such a big upset and should mean a lot to them. Brawly Days was the only team Deep Sea Mortals lost to before this, and the general expectation was that Brawly Days should feel pretty good coming into the series today.
Deep Sea Models certainly showed to play today and managed to upset Brawly Days to claim their first ever championship.
For more on how Deep Sea Mortals managed to earn this upset and the win, let's send it back to our 12KL analyst desk.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. Congratulations to Deep Sea Motors for winning our first ever 12KL Brawl Stars tournament. And wow, that was certainly a very intense series to watch.
Right, and the results might come as unexpected for several people. Reason being, I'm very sure a lot of us were envisioning Brawly Days as the better team for today, as they have yet to lose a single series so far in this tournament. They even trashed the current champions, Deep Sea Mortals, 3-1 in their last meeting.
Deep Sea Mortars certainly show up to play today. The series was quite close game to game, but in the end, they managed to have their revenge and upset Brawly Days with a 3-1 score.
Let's dive in a bit deep into how Deep Sea Motors managed to upset Brawly Days with a 3-1 score. Starting with Deep Sea Motors drawing the first blood in Game 1. Starting off the game, it was a rocky start for Deep Sea Motors as Triss blundered while looking for a flank at the start of the game. But that didn't seem to matter a lot, as after that, Brawly Days used their own Bull ultimate to destroy their own defense to defend their safe, which wasn't the wisest choice in my opinion.
Looking at the health of both the teams' safe, it seems that Team Brawly Days has taken a significantly more damage compared to Team Deep Sea Mortals. But because of the Bulldozer by Ryan Chia and the positioning of the mini-mines by Tan Mo Sheng, they were able to even out the playing fields, making it a deuce. It was neck and neck here as both teams seemed to be dangerously low. And with a Bulldozer from Deep Sea Mortals' very own Tristan, he managed to slip past the enemy team's defense and went through to finish the game.
Yes, it was a very, very close game. For me, I think that the Code Ultimate by Kai Xuan really won the game for Deep Sea Mortals. Triss's Bull also made a huge impact in the game. This game also showed some good teamwork presented by Deep Sea Mortals as their plays, timings were all coordinated very well.
Moving on to Game 2, Brawly Days managed to claw back and tie up the series at 1-1. Starting off the game, we can clearly see that both teams decided to pick Bo, which is the wisest choice as his star power, which grants him vision of nearby bushes, which this map makes him a priority pick. Rosa is also picked up by Brawly Days as Rosa benefits from fighting in bushes as her star power allows her to heal in bushes.
Everything seems to be in a stalemate right now, with both teams on the defensive. Understandable given Team Brawly Days with 2 stars more than Team Deep Sea Mortals. Team Deep Sea Mortals should have played on the offensive here if they wanted to upset the balance of this game and taking it into their own favor.
Wow. What a really close game. Just 1 star difference between the two teams. I think that Mo Sheng really deserves star player of the game as his bow really did a lot of damage and his ultimates were at the right place at the right time. Nonetheless, it was a fun game to watch as Triss's Tara really landed some cool ultimates, but unfortunately, luck wasn't on their side for this game.
Right, let's move on to Game 3 where we see Deep Sea Mortals back in the lead with a solid victory over Brawly Days. Off the bat, you can see that Deep Sea Mortals had generally better brawlers suited for heists, and what made it worse is when Brawly Days Rico flew too close to the sun and decided to fight a bull at close range, which resulted in Deep Sea Mortals taking up 49% of the save.
We can obviously see the huge difference in Team Brawly Days' safe health as with Team Deep Sea Mortals' safe. Smart plays done by Team Brawly Days' own Ryan Chia, utilizing Rico's bouncy bullets to ricochet off the walls to snipe at the enemy team's safe. And because of that hole in their defense, they allowed the enemy bull played by Tristan to enter their safe zone. But this was all just a decoy for them, as the end game was decided when Kai Yuan of Deep Sea Mortals used Rocket Rain to finish it all.
I think that game 3 was a really one-sided game. Deep Sea Mortals are really good at catching Brolydays off guard and punish them, for example, in what Anders had just mentioned. Kaishan got star player of the game with Brawl, but I feel like Chase really did well with his Bull too. To be honest, I really think that Chase should be the star player, but Kaishan did excellently well too.
Last but not least, we have Game 4, which Deep Sea Mortals wraps the series up with a very close win at Bounty. At the start of the game, you can tell both teams picked the exact same team comp, which resulted in a standstill at both teams. Brock and Tate were zoning each other until Tristan from Deep Sea Mortals got a kill on Ryan Chia.
It was a smart move from Team Deep Sea Mortals to separate the enemy team from each other and eliminating them slowly, starting off with the Trap Mortis in the corner, following up with separating both Tan Mo Sheng and Tan Mo Heng from each other with Rocket Rain from Ho Kai Yuan, finishing it off with a head first by Ko Kai Feng to obliterate the helpless Tan Mo Sheng in the corner and using the mini mines to burst on Tan Mo Heng. This is essentially what is called a total team wipeout.
Another close game. Deep Sea Mortals controlled the game really well, but Brolydays really had put up a show for us at their final moments. This fight really got me hyped up as I thought that Brolydays are making a comeback, but excellent patience and technique by Deep Sea Mortals made them hold on to their lead and eventually close out the series with a banger. Overall, Deep Sea Mortals put up more steady performance in this series. Although there were some hiccups here and there, they were the better team.
This also brings us back to the point that Brawl Stars is an extremely volatile game, and I think it's really hard to consistently continue to win through an extended period of time. This is especially due to each game only being 2 minutes long, so one mistake can really cost you the entire game, while in other games such as League of Legends are around 30 minutes, so mistakes can still be repaired. Brolydays definitely had a fantastic run this tournament and entered the finals undefeated, but unfortunately for them, this was the series they lost. And while it is sad, I think it will only make them better, stronger, and I look forward to seeing their performance next year.
Exactly. We will definitely have new teams next year if we do organize a second Brawl Stars tournament. But I would love to see some of these teams like Brolydays, Deep Sea Mortals run it back again with the same roster. I'm certain they'll be able to progress a lot from now until then.
Who knows, maybe we can even get a repeat of a Deep Sea Mortals vs Brolydays finals. Anyways, it's certainly been a long journey for all of us, and on behalf of 12KL and the entire broadcast team, we would like to thank every single team for participating in this event, and also every single one of you right now for tuning into our Grand Finals show and following us through the entire journey, from the group draw show up until now. Please stay with the broadcast as we still have something coming up for you after this. That does it from us, and we hope to see all of you next time.
Although my team lost in the first round, I think what we got out from this competition is the experience of working as a team. Even though our opponents were a lot more skilled, we tried to make the best out of every situation. If I'm ever given the opportunity to take part in the competition again, I would love to take that chance.
Hello, my name is Jashan, team leader of Midnight Ninjas, and today I'll be talking about my experience from the Brawl Stars esports tournament. At the start of the tournament, we wanted to be the undefeatable team, which we did in the group stages. After winning the Wildcard 2 stage, we went up to the winners bracket, where we experienced our first loss. However, we managed to win our next match, which brought us to the semi-finals. From this whole journey, we had a great time laughing and joking around while playing with my teammates. It was always fun, especially when we win. We are really happy with the achievements we got throughout this tournament, and I would like to thank the organisers for making this tournament in the first place.
This was my first time participating in something like this, and to be honest, it was a very fun experience. During our first few matches, things were going on smoothly and we were winning almost every game. But as we proceeded to the finals, The competition got more and more nerve-wracking, so we practiced for days and shared different strategies on how to defeat our opponent. But we made many mistakes during our final battle and eventually took the loss. We were extremely disappointed with our performance even though we had an unexpected winning streak before the finals. What has been done cannot be changed. So with that being said, we will not hesitate to fight and we will definitely crush the upcoming competition. Holidays, peace out.
Hello everyone, my name is Tris and I'm from the group Deep Sea Mortals. I am very honoured and blessed to be a part of this group of Sean and Kaiyan. They carried me throughout this journey and man, we had a blast. We went from training to battling against so much other teams. And all the teams are so good and we had some very intense gaming. We trained really hard and we fought hard, and in the last part, my hands and fingers was shaking a lot when we faced Volley Days in the Bounty map. They were such good players and we were very lucky to have won. I hope these kinds of events will happen more often as it is very fun, and yeah, that's all. Thank you.
It's not something commonly done, especially in Malaysia. It was really an eye-opening experience for all of us, and I'm so glad that we could work on something so special this year.
It really opened up a new world of opportunities for us that we never even considered for. Before this, I never thought we could do something like an esports tournament or our own podcast, but we still did it.
This is something that has never been done before in our company and let alone in our own school. Refereeing for the very first esports tournament hosted by our very own company, TOF Kuala Lumpur, and even appearing on the analyst desk for the grand finals are definitely memories that I will cherish a lot, and I hope we can see more opportunities like this in the future from our own school and 12 KL alike.
So yeah, eSport in 12 KL. It all started during our officers and NCO retreat last year while we were brainstorming to drop out the activities for the coming years for the boys, and this crazy thought just came to our mind. Why not eSport? And to many it's just gaming, but to me it got to do with more than that. In order to play well in any kind of sport, it required discipline, determination, and of course teamwork. And eSport promotes exactly the same value. So when we throw out the idea and the team say why not, let's do it. And that is one of the craziest and most risky decisions that we made during the retreat. Now as I look back, and I'm really proud of the team that took on the challenge, tried to do something new. So from planning, organizing, broadcasting, streaming, publishing, and many more, every work that they produce is beyond our expectation. And I believe that is the DNA of 12KL.
Esports, I remember before MCO, all the discussions was around logistic issues. The network stabilities, the availability of the school labs, the installations of the games in the computer. But during the MCO, all these constraints were lifted up. The boys took the initiative to propose to organize it because everyone is now at their own home. So I'm so excited to see that it's a new creativity, new teamwork, and also the team spirit is birthed during these esports tournaments and challenge. And I look forward to many more of these productions in the future.